with breaking news. Another mass shooting in this country. At least 2 people have been killed, 8 others critically wounded in a shooting at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. Tonight, the gunman remains at large. It happened as students were taking final exams. Right now, the Ivy League campus is on lockdown.
December 13th, 2025. Final exam week at Brown University. Students cramming for tests, stressed but hopeful. Just another Friday afternoon on a prestigious Ivy League campus. But at 4:05 p.m., inside the Bruce and Holley Engineering Building, 11 students attending an economics review session became victims of a mass shooting. 2 of them, 19-year-old Ella Cook and 18-year-old Mukhammad Aziz Umurzokov, would never leave that room alive. Before we dive deeper into this horrifying case, if you're new to Mystoracrimes, hit that like button, drop a comment below, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss an update on cases like this one. Now, here's what makes this case absolutely chilling. This wasn't some random act of violence. The shooter had been on that campus, watching, waiting, planning for over 5.5 hours before pulling the trigger. Think about that for a second. While students were reviewing economics notes, preparing for their futures, someone dressed entirely in black, face covered by a mask, was stalking that campus since 10:30 that morning. Security footage shows this person moving to the College Hill neighborhood, believed to be casing the area, studying the patterns, the routines, the vulnerabilities. Ella Cook was a sophomore from Mountain Brook, Alabama. She loved French and Francophone studies, served as vice president of the Brown University College Republicans, and was an active member of Alpha Chi Omega sorority. Back home at the Cathedral Church of the Advent in Birmingham, her church community knew her as a kind-hearted soul who radiated positivity. She was an accomplished pianist whose music brought joy to everyone who heard her play. Mukhammad Aziz Umurzokov came to America from Uzbekistan as a child with dreams bigger than most of us could imagine. At just 10 years old, he underwent an 8-hour brain surgery for Chiari malformation. That experience didn't break him. It inspired him. He wanted to become a neurosurgeon, to help others the way doctors had helped him. At 18, he was already double majoring in biochemistry and neuroscience at one of the most competitive universities in the world. His sisters described him as a calming presence in their family, kind-hearted and deeply devoted to his Muslim faith. He had just graduated from Midlothian High School in Chesterfield County, Virginia, months earlier. These 2 young people, both at the very beginning of their adult lives, both with so much potential, were in that room on December 13th doing exactly what they should have been doing, preparing for their exams, investing in their education, building their futures. And then chaos erupted. Gunshots rang out through that engineering building at 4:05 p.m. 11 students were hit. Panic, screaming, blood. Students who've been discussing economics concepts moments before were now running for their lives or lying wounded on the floor. 9 students survived the initial attack and were rushed to Rhode Island Hospital. 1 victim was treated for a shrapnel injury and discharged within hours. But the others, their injuries were severe. As of December 17th, 1 victim remains in critical condition, fighting for their life. 2 have been discharged, and 6 others are in various stable conditions, their lives forever changed. Among the wounded was Kendall Turner, recently graduated from Durham Academy in North Carolina, who was critically wounded. Spencer Young, an 18-year-old freshman from New York City, was shot in the leg. 7 other victims haven't been publicly identified, their families choosing privacy during this unimaginable trauma. But here's where this case becomes even more disturbing. The shooter escaped. At 4:03 p.m., just as the shooting was happening, security cameras caught the suspect emerging onto Hope Street from parking lot 42 on Brown's campus. For minutes later, at 4:07 p.m., this person was captured on video walking north on Hope Street, casually strolling past a police cruiser with its emergency lights already flashing. The suspect was right there, walking near law enforcement, responding to the very crime they'd just committed. Over 400 police officers flooded the area. The ATF showed up. The FBI deployed agents from their Boston field office. They searched everywhere. They reviewed footage from 1,200 cameras across campus. They collected evidence. possibly including DNA from an item the shooter discarded at the scene. But here's the problem. That DNA doesn't match anyone in the National Criminal Database. This person either has no criminal record or they've never been caught before. The FBI put up a $50,000 reward for information. They release enhanced surveillance videos showing the suspect's gait, their posture, the way they move, hoping someone would recognize something familiar. Tips poured in, hundreds of them.
Dark gray or black clothing, and some of the witnesses have also told us that he may have been wearing a camouflage gray mask. That is unconfirmed, but if anybody should recognize this person in any way, seen him earlier, recognize his gait, obviously we want to know about that.
On Sunday, December 15th, police got an anonymous tip about a 24-year-old man from Wisconsin staying at a hotel in Coventry, Rhode Island. They detained him, questioned him, but by that night they released him. There was no basis to hold him. He was cleared completely and is no longer a person of interest. So we're back to square one. As of today, December 17th, nearly 4 days after the shooting, the person responsible is still out there, still free, still unidentified. Providence Police Chief Oscar Perez made something very clear in his statements to the media. This individual definitely targeted Brown University. This wasn't random. But what authorities still can't figure out is why.
Sadly, today is a day that the city of Providence and the state of Rhode Island prayed would never come. We've heard about horrific acts of gun violence and active shooter situations in other places, but not here. But this afternoon at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we received a call. 4:05 was when the initial call came in to Brown University of a report of an active shooter.
What drove someone to spend over 5 hours surveilling an Ivy League campus before walking into an engineering building during finals week and opening fire on students reviewing for an economics exam? There's no evidence that Ella Cook was specifically targeted. No indication that any particular student was singled out. So what was the motive? Think about the planning that went into this. The shooter was on campus continuously from at least 10:30 in the morning until 4:05 in the afternoon. That's dedication to something dark. That's patience. That's someone who wanted to make sure they understood the layout, the security patterns, the best time to strike. And they chose finals week, when the campus would be busy, when students would be moving between buildings, when security might be stretched thin trying to monitor everything happening across campus. The Bruce and Holley building requires card swipes to access, but during exam week, there was probably a lot of traffic. People holding doors open for each other, the normal courtesy you'd expect from college students.
Our officers responded, and as they're trained to do, entered that building immediately and began searching for a suspect. Preliminarily, all we have is a suspect that was a male dressed in black.
The shooter likely exploited that trust, that community atmosphere where students help each other out. One small act of kindness, holding a door open, could have been what allowed this person inside.
Hands, hands, hands! Stand up, hands! Hands! Providence police! Everybody's hands! Hands, 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 hands! Hands, hands, hands! Everybody get your hands, hands, hands!
And what about the security concerns this attack exposed? Brown has 1,200 cameras on campus, but there's no clear video of the shooter from inside that engineering building. Older buildings lack comprehensive camera coverage. Students and parents are now calling for better locks on campus doors, more security measures, questioning how someone could spend hours on campus with obvious intent to harm and go completely unnoticed until it was too late. The university responded by canceling all remaining in-person exams and classes for the fall semester. They sent emergency alerts to 20,000 people via text, phone calls, and emails. Admission decisions for prospective students were delayed up to 48 hours. Mental health resources were mobilized.
The president also offering support to the victims.
I've been fully briefed on the Brown University situation, what a terrible thing it is. And all we can do right now is pray for the victims and for those that were very badly hurt, it looks like. And we'll inform you later as to what's happening, but it's a shame. It's a shame. Just pray. Thank you very much.
But none of that brings back Ella and Mukhammad. None of that erases the trauma those 9 wounded students experienced. This shooting happened on December 13th. The very next day marked the 13th anniversary of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, another senseless act of violence against people in an educational setting, another reminder that nowhere feels truly safe anymore. So here are the questions we need to grapple with. What kind of person spends 5.5 hours preparing to murder college students during finals week? What did this shooter hope to accomplish? Why Brown University specifically? And perhaps most disturbing of all, how did someone manage to blend in so seamlessly on a heavily monitored campus for hours before committing mass murder? If you have any information about this case, contact the FBI immediately. That $50,000 reward is still active. Someone out there knows who did this. And to everyone watching Mystoracrimes, hit that like button, share this video to spread awareness, drop your thoughts and comments, and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss updates when this suspect is finally caught.